Hey,
Yeah.
how have you not started? What you talking about? Food?
Hang on a second. Let me write that down. I imagine there's going to be a few of these today. I'm going to get them all recorded.
What you talking about? Food?
But I've used the Mr. T line forever. My wife says, I've got all kinds of bling. And she's like, what's going on? Where's my husband going to? You start to look like you go to the NBA All-Stars and you got as much drip as,
That, okay. I have become, the Dodgers have usurped all my attention. So I had to go back and start seeing my boys Lakers recently, and I hadn't been in a long time. And my takeaway is I'm under-blinged. And
I've got you.
And dude, it's like, people are like, who are you trying to be? What are you trying? I'm like, there's something pretty sick about being blinged out. I'm sorry.
I didn't understand the game. I didn't understand exactly how it all worked. And I shouldn't call it a game. I didn't understand exactly how it worked. Like some people own their stuff. Some people don't own their stuff.
Oh, no, wait. Oh, wait. It sounds like you have some knowledge. Hit me to this, because I'm a fucking 62-year-old white guy. So I need...
You're not that much older than me, Rob.
So tell me, if they're owning, not owning, walk me through that intricacy.
I don't know. We've had some people reach out and say like, hey, would you like, we hear you're going to these events and so forth. Do you want to wear some of this?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. I got my own stuff. So I don't know. I'm not throwing any shame on anybody. Certain people have, and there's a difference of diamonds in things, like how much diamonds are in that. How much, I see some people wearing some really nice ice pieces. So I'll go to a couple of my guys that design jewelry, and I'm like, okay, hey, how much for that? I'm like, well, do you want a lab diamond?
Right.
Or do you want a real diamond?
That's right.
And I said, okay, well, it's a lab diamond. I said, that's about $100,000. I said, well, what's a real diamond? That's about $750.
That's right.
Like, so I'm not, I only wear what is real. So I'm not into I don't have to have it that big and grandiose. I just like really good stuff. And it's kind of like kitchen equipment or cars or whatever things that I'm into. I only want the legit.
What about watch?
But if you ever want a really good, I got a great watch guy. I got a couple great watch guys, but I'm a huge watch fan. So how about yourself?
Yeah. What do I have? What do I have on today? This is my, let's see, what do I got on here? My eyes are so bad. This Patek Philippe I got going here. Just simple.
That's simple Patek. Yeah, just simple.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Just easy going. No big deal.
Just a little something.
Remember when we were so thrilled to get a Rolex? I mean, I love Rolex. Don't get me wrong. I still love Rolex, but Patek and AP and I'm RM today.
Okay. So I haven't done RM yet. So let me see what you got cooking there on RM. Let me see. Yeah, it's sick. It's sick.
But this because you were doing this way before I was ever, involved in any of this. It just is a deep rabbit hole.
Oh, isn't it?
And what are we talking about? A high class problem? Let's talk about when we had nothing.
Well,
the thing is our kids getting into it is the problem.
Yeah. And look, we're both Ohio boys. I mean, I don't know if I'm from Dayton. So, and
I picked up, I love how you got to go from Dayton to Santa Monica.
Yes.
And I went from Columbus to Ferndale. Not exactly the same.
No, but
not that I would give it up ever.
But let me tell you something very similar in that, because I know Ferndale.
How do you know Ferndale?
Because I had my best friend went to Humboldt University, right? Or
Humboldt State, yeah.
Humboldt State. And so, and of course, as one does, I have looked for Bigfoot up there.
And probably knowing that you're Rob Lowe, you found Bigfoot. Hey, by the way, thanks for dragging me and my son Ryder into the Hot Ones Versus. So we get called and they said, hey, because I did Hot Ones way back in the day when they first started.
Yeah.
And my big claim to fame is I drank nothing. I drank no milk. I drank no water. I had nothing. I just ate all my wings. So they came back and they said, would you be interested in doing Versus? And I'm like, it's kind of hot. And they're like, well, let us show you a clip of Rob Lowe and his son, who I've met your son, by the way. He was at my son's party, his birthday party.
That's right. They told me, they love you.
Yeah, which was awesome. So I saw you two, and I'm like, I mean, if the world doesn't already love Rob Lowe, look at this endearing, this energy that you guys shared. And I'm like, that's me and Ryder for sure. I said, sign me up. Thanks a lot, Rob. That was hot.
It's fun. It's hot though. It's really hot. And
Yeah.
And you come away, it's just such a fun it's great when you have a relationship like that, like you obviously have with Ryder and I have with my boys. And that's a great way to showcase it. Doing that show is so ridiculously fun.
Yeah, it was a great time. But you were great, you've been such a great example for all of us. I mean, everything from your sobriety to the way you have pivoted your career on so many different platforms, and the way you just roll with the punches. You're lighthearted. You're, great at what you see is what you get.
Right.
And when I saw that on there, I'm like, come on, Rob. I mean, look at this. I gotta follow in suit. But boy, it was hot. So very, very well done. But you should take a lot of responsibility for dragging the Fieris into it.
Oh, I'm happy. I'm happy to. I'll take a bow for that. I'll take a bow. So Ferndale is literally like, and I went from, like you said, Ohio to Southern California,
Santa Monica,
Malibu in particular, even worse, or better depending how you look at it. But like, you want to talk about, you're up in the Humboldt area. That's a vibe up there.
It was the greatest place to grow up, and I still give such credit to my hometown, to Ferndale. For anybody that needs reference to it, if you ever saw the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman, about that, the big outbreak that happened, that little town that it was filmed in is the town of Ferndale. So it's really angelic. I mean, just old Victorian buildings, one main street, 1,400 people still live there. I mean, it's a tiny little community right up by Eureka. And so my parents moved up there. We came from Columbus, went to Whittier. My mom was a school teacher. This back in the late 60s. So they moved up there, and it was this really great place to live. And a ton of the energy of that town is a ton of community. Everybody supports, everybody helps, everybody engages. And my parents said, we could have lived in San Francisco and done the business. They were in the Western clothing business and, did this whole thing. Said we could have lived in San Francisco and made 10 times the money, but we wanted you to grow up in this environment where you were really going to be, supported and help grow. And, so it was, life-changing place to live.
And that's where I'm always fascinated with, food icons. I'm friends with Jimmy John, and I've got a friend, Torchy's Tacos, in Austin, and you, and how you first did it. And you had the, pretzel, wasn't that what the first thing you were selling was your pretzel?
Yeah.
How does how does it come up? You're just a regular kid, and the light bulb goes off, and you go, I love like, walk me through how that happens. In the initial stage.
Okay, so when you live in Ferndale, you're kind of, I don't want to say secluded from what goes on. I saw Star Wars 3 months before anybody ever heard of Star Wars. We happened to be down in San Francisco when I was a kid, and this friend of ours said, hey, we're going to take this really cool movie about space. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever. Never waited in line to get in a movie in my life. And here we come to this blockbuster of Star Wars opening. So I get back and I tell all my friends about Star Wars. And, back then there was, you're in a remote area. You didn't get, so anyhow, long story short, I'm in Tahoe with my family. We're skiing. And it was back then, you'd get out of the car, your dad give you $5, meet back at the car at 4:30. And you were off for the day by yourself.
Yep.
So my parents are at the lounge. Sounds better than saying bar. My parents are at the bar at the end of the day. My dad says, hey, do you have lunch today? I said, yeah. And he goes, what'd you have? And I said, I had pretzel. And he goes, well, I gave you $5. Pretzel's 50 cents. Where's the rest of the money? I said, well, I had a bunch of pretzels. He goes, how many pretzels do you have? I had 10. He says, yeah, you eat your whole lunch money with pretzels. I said, yeah. And he says, if you love those pretzels so much, why don't you start a pretzel business? Because I had been in the Kool-Aid business, and I had been in I was always an entrepreneur as a young kid. And in little town of Ferndale, which had a lot of tourists, it was easy to do this. So my dad said, go down and ask the pretzel guy where he gets his pretzels. So I go down to the guy that I've known for the whole week that I've been buying all my lunch with. And I said to this guy, Tim or whatever his name is, hey, where do you get the pretzels? And all of a sudden, Tim's not my buddy. I'm in fourth grade, okay? Fifth grade. And he says, I'm not telling you. I said, he says, what do you want to do? Go start your own pretzel business and, compete with me? I said, well, I don't live here. I'm 11 years old. And I just want to know where you get the pretzels. I'm not telling you. So I go back defeated up to my dad, and I tell him, I said, yeah, he won't give me the thing. He goes, and this was how my dad, Jim, the great guy, unfortunately, I lost him 2 years ago to pancreatic cancer. Mm-hmm. But my dad's like, no, bullshit. You go down there and you wait for him to close up shop and throw that box away. And then you go get that box out of the trash. You find the address on that box and you bring it back to me.
Amazing.
So I scope the guy out. I wait, throws it in the trash. I'm in my ski suit. Remember the ski suits that we wore in the 70s?
Oh, yeah.
With the blue and orange and red, all the colors, the whole thing.
Yeah.
The big onesies.
The onesies. Yes. They have a very disrespectful name for those things today that we can't say publicly, but yes.
I don't know what they're called, but
you don't want to know.
But then if you had a good one, you were hot stuff.
The Bogner suit. Come on, man.
So I jump in the dumpster. I get the box, and as a proud bird dog, I come bringing it back to my dad. And he's like, I don't need the whole damn box. He just tears off the address. And so from that point on, I think that was winter of fourth grade. And then every day, my dad made me go down to the bank and take out a loan. Henry Weller was our bank manager. I had to fill out the bank stuff. I had to get a checkbook. He goes, what do you want to call your pretzel company? Well, what was the word that we used in 1977? Awesome. So I called it the Awesome Pretzel. So I had my checkbook, and my dad made me balance my budget and set up it. And I had a 3-wheel bike, and we built a cart that sat on the back of a 3-wheel bike with a little propane stove in there and a little steamer. And I would steam the pretzels, and that's it. And I would ride this bike around fairs and rodeos and stuff and sell the pretzels. And I had all my buddies work for me. They worked for pretzels or free carnival tickets, whatever it was. And that's how I got my start. But I was always a food junkie. I just loved food. I would fake sick to stay home. I found the book, The Joy of Cooking. And I'm like, wait a second. They give you all the recipe, because at that point, my parents were vegetarian. And we did a long macrobiotic diet.
Jesus,
and so
you were way ahead of the curve.
Bro, but listen, do you think anybody wants to stay at your house, Rob, for sleepover when you have green spaghetti and pesto, and then all the kids made fun of you, like green eggs and ham? Oh, no. Guy, you go to Guy's house, it's green spaghetti and green sauce. It was pesto and spinach pasta. I mean, today, delicious.
Yes.
Then, not so much.
No. What the other thing I like about you is like I like dives. And by dives, I mean, like, I want something that's been there forever, hasn't changed, they're not trying to wow you with fucking presentation and shit. I hate that stuff so much. And like, whenever I travel, it's sometimes hard to articulate to people what you want, right? Like, I'll roll in and they immediately want to wow me with the latest, greatest. I'm like, no. Like, I want to go to the fucking Apple Pan in Los Angeles. I want to go to the, I love that. How do you go about finding you've been doing it for so long. But how do you go about locating those places? Because they're the best.
I'm the same as you. I mean, I've eaten at a lot of great restaurants. I love food. I mean, I love food any way, shape, or form. I just like the authenticity of it. I like the truth in it. I like the story in it. That's what Triple D is all about. Matter of fact, when they first brought the idea to me, they said the first pitch that made from the network is you're going to go around and be a food critic. I said, well, you got the wrong guy. I said, I'm not going. No. Okay, you're not a food critic. You're just going to go around and taste food and give your and share the story. I said, okay, I can do that. I'm a mom and pop restaurant owner myself. At that time, I had 2 or 3 restaurants. And I'm like, I can do that. Diners, drive-ins, and dives. I said, okay. Never been to a lot of diners. I'm not from the East Coast. And drive-ins, of course, that was always a big deal. We didn't eat a lot of fast food in our hippie family. So if you ever went to a drive-in, like A&W root beer, I was so excited, get a root beer float. And then dives, well, that's kind of, going to college in Las Vegas. We always had these little dive joints you'd go, and they had the best chicken fingers, or they had the great stromboli or whatever it be. So this kind of resonates with me. So I'm in the same world you are, Rob. Is like, I get to a city, if I haven't been there already, now I've been to majority of them. We've been to, 1,700 locations, almost 20 years of doing the show. And it's now I could just call people like I'm in, Kansas City, Missouri. Hey, Stretch, where do I go? Hey, Panini Pete, where do I go? So I've got that little hook now, but I'm in the same thing. I want to go to the place. It's off the beaten path. I want to go to the place that doesn't have the big neon sign. I want to go to a place that doesn't have an advertising budget. And they don't have to make everything on that menu fantastic, but they make the bomb French dip.
Something. My grandpa ran a restaurant for 60 years, and it was it was tri-tip, hamburger, chicken sandwich, salad, soups, and the clincher, pies, and which is a lost art. You don't see like why are I'm sorry, but where did the pies go? Where did they go?
Well, one, I think that as soon as so this, you're delving deep. Let me ask you a question. Where was your grandpa doing a restaurant that he knew about tri-tip? Was it on the East Coast or on the West Coast?
No, it was in Sydney, Ohio.
Okay, because tri-tip in Sydney, Ohio is like way against the grain. So maybe it wasn't tri-tip. Maybe it was just top round or bottom round that he was roasting and slicing thin.
You're probably right. It probably wasn't.
Okay, because tri-tip didn't make it across the
You know what it was?
Mississippi.
I'll tell you what it was. It was pork tenderloin. Does that make sense?
Okay, big
sandwich
in tri-tip.
Yeah, I know.
Big,
right.
Big
pork.
dip. That's
different animal.
But that's okay. Let's stick with that. Let's go right to the
yeah.
Let's go with protein.
Yeah.
So anyhow, because that is a real thing. So every animal has every steer has 2 tri-tips, and it just depends on the way you butcher the animal. So my wife is from North Providence, Rhode Island, and I would go there and talk about tri-tip, and my father-in-law would look at me like, steak tips? I'm like, what is a steak tip? I've never heard of a steak tip in my life. So the way they butcher the animal is what you get, what you get out of it. But the tri-tip is primarily west of the Mississippi, or really primarily, California and so forth is where it got, Texas, where it got its from. Anyhow, back to this.
Pies. Where did the pies go?
Pies. So what happens with cooking is, how can we make it easier? How can we make it faster? How can we make it more readily accessible? Well, when you do that, you start to pull away from some of the nuances and some of the key factors that make it so great. I talk about this. I have a tequila company called Santo Tequila, and we talk about the world of tequila, that when the tequila bulb grows, it's called the piña. It's the bulb of the Weber Blue agave succulent. And I explain to people that the difference between really good tequila and okay tequila is how long does the bulb grow? How long does the succulent grow? At 6 years old, it's this big. At 8 years old, it's that big. Why do you want to wait 2 more years? Because it needs to ripen. So what happens? So we make an apple pie with an unripe apple. It still looks like a Granny Smith, but it doesn't have any flavor. So what do? We add more sugar, we add more vanilla, we add more cinnamon, the whole thing. But if you made an apple pie with a really ripe apple, like grandma made it at the right time, or your grandfather made it at the right time, the taste profile is infinitely different. So what happened is, now people don't get that experience of that, the extra 10% of flavor, and they get a okay flavor. But now people are more conscious about their consumption, about their value of consumption to calories. And they kind of go, nah, it's not really that worth it, because the apple pie isn't blow your mind apple pie. Right. You get blow your mind apple pie, people are going to line up down the street for it. But that really has to do with everything in food. We had a big change, Rob, in the world. And it was the era that you and I were probably having the most opportunity to go out and eat and do stuff, where people are like, we can make it quicker. We can $6 million man it. We can make it quicker, faster, and better than before.
We have the technology.
And yeah, we have the technology. Thank you, Oscar Goldman.
Yes, that's right.
We have the technology, and we pivoted away from it. And people are like, well, wait a second. Yeah, it consumes. Yeah, it tastes good. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, fortunately, and I give the Food Network a ton of this credit, we started to pivot the ship and get back to real food for real people. And that's where this resurgence has come, where people are like seeking out these funky little mom and pop joints. And they're like, why do people wait an hour in line to get that French dip or get your grandpa's apple pie? Because it's real, because it's made with, it's made with great beef. It's made with a locally made roll. It's made with, organic butter. So there is a difference. What appears to be one, I always use the example of Ferrari in a regular car. They all have 4 wheels. They all have a steering wheel. They all have this and that. But the reality of it is the attention to detail, the quality, the workmanship, all of it really does matter when it comes down to it. So
what is it? And obviously there's and you already alluded to it, there's the nexus of quality, ingredients, time, care, precision, and then cost profile, right? There's like, you got to hit, at the end of the day, it's a business. You have to hit that right, correct?
Hey, when you and I put the business factor of it together that's kind of when you can blow anything.
Really?
Well, look at it making TV and making movies.
I understood. You're
a producer and a director.
Put it that way. And yes, 100%.
Yeah, when you go into a project
Yes.
and you say, let's get the right person, let's shoot it at the right place.
Yep.
Let's do it for the right reasons, and let's stick to our guns. All of a sudden,
the rest takes care of itself if you do it right.
Exactly. So I have these mom and pop joints that I go to that fall into that same thing. I'll look at them and I'm like, you're making money? Oh yeah, we do really well. And I'm like, this is the most difficult you could take to make. This is the way my grandpa did it. This is what's made us famous. This is how we choose to do it. This is what I'm doing. And I'm like, amen. If you've got those principles and those values that's how you do it. That's how you get it done. You can really screw up a great recipe, be it TV, movies, life, whatever, as soon as you start putting the business into it, because you put that business algorithm together and you start pulling away from what got you there in the first place.
Let me ask you
now,
this.
I'm not saying that you should just throw caution to the wind and cook whatever the hell you want and not worry about your bottom line. I'm not saying that at all, but there really is that finite apex that takes place, that nexus, as you call it. There's that happens, and it's not easily reproducible. I've seen a lot of places that have done great with 1 and 2 locations.
This is you just took the words out of my mouth. Like what? How? Here's a great one I always think about. It's way, way, way not in our vibe, but the Russian tea room in New York. When I grew up, the Russian tea room in New York was a thing. It was a big business thing. It was in movies, and in the movie Tootsie, there's a whole scene that takes place there. There was one of 5 places that people went to be seen, and it was good. It was great. They shut it down famously forever to redo it. They opened it, same location, but it had been closed for I want to say almost 2.5 years, maybe 3. It's never been back in the consciousness since. Never. Still there, but it's just never. And I wonder if maybe these are just zeitgeist places that were also really zeitgeisty, but you also see it in places that weren't zeitgeisty where they tried to just expand to a different location. And why does that sometimes not work if the theory is the food is exactly the same?
Let's take a sequel to a movie. You've got a great story that's already been established. I mean, besides The Godfather, and there's discussions of which Godfather was better than,
2. Two's the best.
Come on.
2's the best.
I didn't want to say it.
2's the best.
But that's never happened. I mean, how many times has the sequel become better than the,
never.
But maybe because they clean things up or explain things or that a better budget or whatever. Did you watch The Offer, right?
Yeah, of course.
That was the greatest thing. Being a Godfather fan,
yeah, I'm a
huge fan.
Huge.
I went to Taormina, Italy to go to the Godfather house.
Oh my God.
It was, my kids haven't seen me geek out.
Where stabs the guy?
No, not the one where Apollonia dies in the car explosion.
Oh, that yes. Yeah.
So we went to that house.
It
was, and the guy that owns it is 5th generation of the family that owns it since the 1700s or late. Yeah. And he took us and toured us around and showed us the whole thing. And he had it depicted from every scene and so forth. The older guy, 80 years old. But it was the coolest thing. And here I am. And my kids laughed at me the whole time. They're like, is this what we look like when we went to Disneyland the first time? Right. I mean, you won't shut up. You won't take a picture of everything. Take a picture of me by the fountain. Take a picture of me where the car was.
It's amazing.
It was.
I feel you.
But what happens is, and I don't really have the exact definition of why that falls out, but certain things just aren't reproducible. Certain things have history that it was a story, or you waited so long to get the reservation to get into the Russian tea room,
yes.
Or you knew that, and so it can fall out of favor and the recipes never change. But I've seen it happen with big time restaurants that want to go from the East Coast to the West Coast, or the West Coast to the East Coast, where it just doesn't translate. And they take the exact same pictures off the wall, put those same pictures in the building, boom, 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 boom. And it doesn't translate. In a restaurant experience, got to remember, that's what I tell all my restaurant, my general managers and chefs. We're not coming just to eat something. They're coming for an experience. They're coming for the service. They're coming for the energy. They're coming for the attitude. They're coming for the music. They're coming for the smell. They're coming for all these components make up the experience of coming to a restaurant. It's not just eating something, because if they just want to eat something, they can DoorDash it.
Well, that's another. Let me ask you this: what has DoorDash done? That has to have changed the industry. It has to have.
It's, if I were to use a food term, it's pasteurized the restaurant business, because it's pulling people out of the experience.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because my wife and I, we love sushi, and I don't always want to go out, especially when I'm back from being on the road. But it's just one thing I will not order is sushi to go. Just will not order it. And the thing is I know the restaurant so well, and I know that they're going to make it fast. I know we're going to get it here within 10 minutes, even if, my rider goes and picks it up down the street. There's something about the experience. Even if you're not sitting at the sushi bar, you're sitting at the table when you're eating the sushi. I don't know if it's the conveyance of it was just made and you're just receiving it. I don't know if it's the fact that the music or the ambiance or the experience that you're in. I don't know. But sushi to me doesn't taste half as good eating it to go as it does there. So what happens is this younger generation, I don't think is engaged in the experience of the restaurant and the feeling and the service, and then more just about the consumption. So what I'm seeing in the industry is we see this ebb and flow. I get people that are spending more money on the delivery than they're spending on the actual food.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
But we have to, if we love these things, it's kind of like, you probably know more about it than I do, but this whole generation of what's taking place with AI, the authenticity in film and the authenticity in TV and so forth, and then now AI having its play into it. You're kind of like, well, what are we supposed to watch? Like, where's the real acting coming? What's being lost? If we don't take control of the creativity and the authenticity and the realistic, the truth of it, we'll get ourselves down the path again. We were in a space, Rob, back in the, mid 80s, early 90s, where microwaves were, they were leading the way in restaurants. People were making food and it was sous vide and things were being heated up. And it was like, wow, the steak dinner's so cheap. Yeah. It was grilled 2 weeks ago, somewhere else, and all it's done has been reheated for you.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I wonder if the answer isn't the same. I obviously spend a lot of time in my business and talking to people about that thing, and a lot of people think that where it's headed is like, if you're shopping, you're either going to end up shopping at Hermes and Chanel or Target, and that the in between will be DoorDash. People will they'll be DoorDashing 24/7, and then when they really, because the people aren't idiots, we haven't forgotten, like as you say, the experience. They haven't forgotten it, but they didn't grow up with it, and it certainly wasn't the only way to get it. And so, for date night or something special, or to be cool, or to like meet up, they'll do those things that you and I love, but they're not going to be what they were. It's not coming. I'm talking about my business. It's not coming back in that way. So the handcrafted movie making experience that The Godfather 2s and all those amazing movies, they'll still be, they're not going anywhere. And you could actually say they'll even be more valuable. They'll be the real diamond, not the lab diamond. But then on the other end, just day in, day out, you're doing your DoorDash and you're doing your thing. I mean, that's kind of, I don't see a counter argument that holds water to that.
We're seeing the parallel in all industry. It's not just one thing. Where's the taxi gone? And now we have the self-driving cars. It's happening across the board. The sad thing for me, though, is to see these industries that, like for instance, the restaurant industry. How many people does it support? When we had the pandemic, I went out and raised a bunch of money for restaurant workers. Everybody was focusing on their industry or whatever their cause was and so forth. And mine was, I understood how many restaurant workers live paycheck to paycheck. and how many small mom
Mm-hmm.
and pop restaurants live paycheck to paycheck, and everything that they have in their walk-in right now is their life, is all the money they have. And so we did, I sent out these videos on a Sunday, 43 different CEOs and CFOs of big companies, from Pepsi to Uber Eats to Tito Vodka to Bezos, you name it. I sent this video. I said, hey, listen, individually, I sent them. I said, hey, Pepsi, you've been in our restaurants for years, and our industry is shutting down. We're going to have, 2 million workers that aren't going to have any paychecks coming. And you've been benefiting from our industry for a long time. Please help our industry. And the next day, Pepsi sent me $1 million and said, whatever you're doing with the money, just please make sure it gets to the right people. We raised $26.8 million. The National Restaurant Association helped me, and we gave out $500 grants to over 45,000 restaurant workers. And granted, $500 wasn't going to save the world, but it did show the industry, hold on. Industry leaders, people that are in this business love you and appreciate you and know that you're going through this, and we want to be there for you. And here's a little gift. Here's just a little token. And we got to keep this industry alive. We got to keep the truth in the industry, because there will be a time when it'll ebb and flow. People come back to and go, what was it like to go to a pizzeria and see the guy throw the pizza in front of you, and to smell it cooking in the oven? You can't ever replicate that. That feeling, that experience of smelling the pizza, watching it, the anticipation of it coming, that's part of the experience.
Yes.
You don't get that waiting for the car to show up or waiting for the robot to deliver the pizza to you. You've just lost half of the romance. So where does this put us? But, hopefully it's going to be guys like you and me, and there's different people that we see in different generations that become, historians, if we want to call it that, of the way it was done. But I have such a, we have a small little knife company we're starting called Trade, and, we're working with making knives. I have a blacksmith shop here at my ranch, and we make knives. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is way more work than I ever thought it was going to be. But it's these kinds of things of like getting back to the artisan piece, because if we're going to lose it, where are we really going to be? Like, who knows? I remember my son got his first truck, my son Ryder. I made him go out there and figure out how to get the tire out of the back, lower it down, and change the tire. He goes, we have AAA. I said, when we don't have cell phones and we're in the mountains and we don't have AAA, how do you change a tire? But you and I had to do that stuff as kids, and we're just losing track of this. So I'm not want to be one of those old guys who goes, when I was a kid, this.
Yeah.
We either need to do something to support it, or we're going to lose it. So maybe everybody should just remind, and that's what the restaurant business used to say. There was a company called S.E. Rykoff, and they said, enjoy life, eat out more often. And this was a promotion they were doing back in.
It's funny. You mentioned two things that phrase, eat out more often, and the National Restaurant Association, not the NRA guns, the NRA restaurant. My grandpa was the local president of the NRA. I just remember, this is like overwhelming childhood shit for me.
Well, I didn't know that you and I were so close in age. You're a couple years older than me, but because I've always, you're Rob Lowe. I mean, it's just like, I've seen all your success. And by the way, can I just give you a shout out? So my admin, Natalie, who's my executive that runs my life, my wife, Lori, who just confessed to me today, as I was telling her that we were doing this, said, oh, I had Tiger Beat and all the posters of Rob Lowe up in my room. I said, why are you telling me this? Because I'm going to sell you out on this.
Amazing.
And then Lauren, who's my publicist over at Food Network, who's on this right now. And I said, that's interesting, Lauren. I haven't seen you on one of my interviews in the last 3 or 4 months. Interesting.
Hi, Lauren.
Rob Lowe interview.
Hello.
Lauren.
Hello.
Rob Lowe. But anyhow, you're such an icon, and you've done so much, and you've just had such a positive image and recognition, and huge S.E. Hinton fan. I think that was one of the only books I ever read, when reading wasn't the funnest thing to do. And then I see you guys come out, stay golden, pony boy. I mean, it's one of my quotes I still use as give a goodbye to somebody. But you've done all this stuff, and you're still so relevant and still so tuned in. By the way, I didn't get to say it from the beginning of this. Thank you for the invite to be here. Because this is, and then when I started to, think more about what we were going to have, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. There's just so many commonalities. But granted, we grew up in different worlds at different times with different career paths, but then kind of meeting back at this, how many commonalities or how many, common interests we have. It's really kind of cool. So
no, it's unbelievable. From the watches to the blings to like the local food stuff. I mean,
to the kids, to
the kids
eating hot wings.
Hot wings. So let me ask you, I have not that I'm like who's the guy that does the pizza reviews? It's not that I'm Dave Portnoy or anything, but I do love myself a good pizza. So are you ready for my 3 top pizzas? I want to see if they compare to yours.
I'm dying to hear this.
Okay, I'm going to go counterintuitive because I've just recently rerouted them to see how they're doing. And I'm going to put my favorite pizza in the world, of all cities, San Francisco. And it is going to be Tommaso's. Do you know about Tommaso's?
I know Tommaso's. Wow, that's funny.
Okay, I'm going.
How did you find Tommaso's? Well, you're a world traveler or something. I mean, is there 6 of you?
That's the kind of shit I want. I want and recently I'd forgotten the name of Tommaso's, and I asked somebody in San Francisco where I should go for pizza. They go, "Oh, you've got to go to so-and-so." And I went in, it was the fucking some goddamn, you know what I'm talking about? It was one of those places.
Right.
And I was like, God damn it. No. And so I rediscovered Tommaso's. It's great. And then the other one is, and I always forget the name, in the north end of Boston. It's a woman's name. God, I'll think of it. But then of course Johnny's in New York, Bleecker, I think is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
But you know, it's the age
where they won't cut it into slices and you can't get it to go.
That's right. That's right.
That's my favorite.
But those are all, you know, what they have in common is all of the ovens are really, really old. Really old. And I wonder if that's part of it.
I think it is the ovens.
Regina's. That's it.
So I think there's so many. When I see a pizza go for $5.99, it just breaks my heart. Not that it's not consumption, it's not food, and it's not carbohydrates, and people aren't enjoying it. It's, cheese stuff, and but a real pizza, the time and energy that it takes. I love pizza. We do a lot of pizza on Triple D. The pizza and what it takes to make it, and the fermentation of the dough, and the styles of the dough, and the styles of the pizza. Like Detroit pizza is really starting to get a bigger following now. It used to be, thin pizza and Chicago style.
By the way, just not to rain on your parade. I don't love Detroit pizza so much. Don't love it so much. And by the way,
really.
And I'll tell you another thing. How about same with Chicago? With Chicago, I was just there. I retried it again. I like the pizza. I'm not anti, but give me a regular pizza. But anyway, okay. I digress. Continue.
In Chicago, there's 2 types of pizza. There's thin pizza.
Yes.
You go on the south side.
Yep.
Vito and Nick's.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get it wrong? Vito and Nick's and Vito's. One of my favorite places. I'm just awesome. Triple D, 15, 16, 17 years ago. But it's thin crust pizza, and they cut it in squares.
Oh, they don't cut squares. That's what they did in Ohio, where I grew up at Cassano's.
Okay.
and the I love the squares. Love them.
Okay, so I'm a big fan because you get a little bite of this.
The little tiny little like weird shaped one that's in the
exactly. Yeah, the little funky corner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm not a huge deep dish fan. To me, it reminds me more of focaccia bread.
Yeah.
But you know what I say to people all the time is, if you have an opinion about something with food, please revisit it once a year.
Yes.
Okay. Because so often you've tried something. Mm-hmm. Like I remember the first time I tried Cincinnati chili. Okay. I remember the first time I tried it.
Oh,
I wasn't that big of a fan.
Skyline chili, big deal. I see. That's a perfect example of the stuff that I'm obsessed with.
But then you go to Skyline Chili,
yes,
or there's a place called Blue Ash that we shot Triple D at. You go and get the right. You go and get the right Cincinnati chili done the right way.
Yep.
Oh, spaghetti.
That's right.
Chili on spaghetti.
Yep.
I've made it for my friends here in California, and they're just like, "This is the most whack thing in the world," but this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I was cooking some Brussels sprouts the other night for some friends. We were up at our ranch, and really charred the hell out of the Brussels sprouts in a cast iron pan with a little bacon fat, some onions, a little bit of garlic, and they looked to the point where like, should we eat this? And I'm like, no, just try it. You're going to love this. The char to the bitterness of the Brussels sprouts, it's going to go fantastic. And she looked, our friend Jen looked at me and goes, I hated Brussels sprouts. I've always hated Brussels sprouts. My mom made them. She was from the Midwest. I hated Brussels sprouts. So what I say to people all the time, don't go get so steadfast on your opinion about something in food, because A, you might not have had it the best time.
Right.
B, you might not have been in the best headspace.
That's right.
And here's my favorite thing. The parents ask me all the time, how do I get my kids to eat? How do I get them to eat diversified food? Feed them when they're hungry. 1977, Northern California, my hippie parents are having me eat sushi. When your friends are staying over for sleepover and there's raw salmon and going on a clump of rice, and your friends are making fun of you on Monday at school, but we didn't have snacks in the house. We weren't a big snacky, again, we were hippies, we had corn tortilla chips, but we didn't have a bunch of snacks. So by the time I made it to the dinner table at 6:00 sharp, whatever was in front of me, most likely I was going to eat just because I was starved.
Yes.
And it's, if you're looking to expand your culinary profile, your inventory of what you'll eat hungry.
And conversely, if you're looking to lose weight, eat when you're have a snack before you. Don't ever sit down for a meal famished.
I served Thanksgiving one year. It was during the pandemic. And I served it in courses. It was only the family. We didn't have all the friends, we didn't have the big group. And I served it in courses. And what happens, and this is a real truth. Like, I lived in France. I was an exchange student in France when I was 16. And everything we ate, even a common Tuesday night dinner, we ate courses. And it was a little bit of this, then it was a little bit of that. And by the time I'm at the second course, I'm still starving, but your stomach catches up to your brain.
Right.
And you get to this point where you're satiated and you're like, okay, I'm good. You'll eat half as much. You load that plate up on, you'll eat everything that's available to you. You go into that food coma at the end of it, and you've consumed twice as much as you needed to. But if you really sit there and you look at the 3 little mussels that you get to have, and you get to have it with the broth and you get to enjoy it, and that's all you're getting for that round, then, and you're waiting with anticipation for the next one, it'll finally catch up, but you'll find that you eat half as much. So I did a Thanksgiving that way one time, where we just ate everything in a little bit of a course, and we didn't eat 1/10 of what I had prepared.
So that notion of the stomach catching up with your brain, or your brain catching up, whichever it is, I've heard that a bunch, and I always thought that makes sense, but I wonder if it's true. Sounds like it is.
I try to do that when I'm eating. I'm a big salad fan. I know that everybody doesn't say Guy Fieri and salad go hand in hand, but I'm a huge salad fan. I love raw vegetables. I'm a carrot junkie, onion, pepperoncinis, olives, you name it, I want to eat it. Anything pickled. And I'll always eat my salad first. For the whole dinner, I'll eat my salad, even if we're serving it we had a big dinner the other night, and I just sat down and ate my salad before I even served myself the rest of the meal. And I look at it this way: of one, I'm fulfilling myself because I'm starving. And two, it kind of gives me a little bit of a break, and we need as much roughage as we can get. And although salads are eaten in, the French would eat them at the end of dinner.
That's right.
But I think that moderation, and that's what people ask me all the time. How do you keep the way you're at with being a chef and being on the show? I intermittent fast. I don't eat until noon every day.
Same. Same.
See? No, I'm serious. I get up in the morning. I drink a ton of water. I probably drink a gallon plus of water a day. I carry my Yeti around with me everywhere I go. I'm a water. The more readily available water is to you, the more you will drink it.
Yep, it's true. Water. I drink it like it's a job. I literally have to drink it like it's a job. In fact, I have a bottle.
Sometimes I'll get half.
The bottle says, keep going. I have a bottle that says, keep going. You're almost there. You're at your goal.
If I get about halfway and I know I'm going somewhere, like I'm going to get in the car and go somewhere, like, I'll just chug this one and then I'll fill it full so it'll be full to go. And I really do. I play that same game with myself about really keeping that water intake. At our age, that does make you get up in the middle of the night more than you probably want to.
That's right.
Black coffee. I used to drink coffee with a little half and half, just a touch. But, it starts it starts your body discussing whether or not it's going to store sugar or burn sugar. So anyhow, intermittent fasting and then eating in moderation. And I'll get a sandwich. I love deli sandwich. I'll eat half of it as slowly as I can, and I'll put the other half away and just try to give myself 15 minutes to make that decision if I really need to have that other half.
Wow.
And people are like, really? You do that? And I'm like, if I don't do that, I'll house everything in front of me.
Oh, bro, I'm capable of housing an entire pie pizza. Easy. 100%.
Last night, pack it up, put it away.
You know where else is interesting? So, ice cream. I'm obsessed with ice cream. And here's what's interesting: if I take a pint of ice cream when I'm hungry, all bets are off. But if I get one of the little smaller serving ones by itself, and I'm in a different room, and I have it, I'm like, I'm good. This was great.
If you take it out and you know how much you have, you'll be like a little kid when you just didn't want to eat it because you only have so much left of it. Like you get the little kid chip bag. And you just there's three more Doritos in here. I'm just gonna make sure that they, and don't ask for one. No, it really is that. It's and I love it. What's your flavor, by the way?
I've gone back and forth. This is what you're saying, revisit things. I was like a traditionalist. I didn't want I was not in with the Ben and Jerry's revolution. Okay, let's just say that. I was like, the fuck out of here. Put that shit in my fucking ice cream. That's was sort of my thing. And then, then over the years, I was like, you know what? Cookie dough and ice cream is pretty sick. And so my thing is currently just plain old coffee, but I have expanded my ice cream palette. I mean, I'm a milkshake guy, really, of anything. That's my number one thing.
Right. So I'm a coffee guy. I'm not a real big sweets guy. Like when we talked about pie, like a blackberry pie to me is the pie.
Blueberry for me.
It's a little bit
blueberry,
a little bit sour, but in that same idea,
yes.
There's more than just sweet.
Yes.
I could never get around chess pie.
No.
I could never get around the super sweet pie. That just was not my jam. Or a true cherry pie, not canned cherries, but real cherries. But I'm a coffee ice cream or a mint chip.
Yeah. I like me some mint chip. I do.
I'll go for some mint chip.
Let me ask you this though: on mint
quality
chip,
versus quantity.
On mint chip, I mean, it has to be green.
Thank you.
Has to be green.
Okay. It's like making pastrami without, people make pastrami and they don't want to, they don't want to put the nitrates in it. They don't want to get the curing salt in there because they want to make it. You look at pastrami and it's gray and brown and it's not pink.
No,
it changes the flavor. Okay. If I eat it with a blindfold on, fine.
Yes.
But otherwise it's, you're going to have that little bit of indulgence to get through it. But,
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's so funny because if we start talking more about food and we start engaging people in this conversation, we start to draw people in, like my nephew that's sitting here across the table from me, Ian, travels with me all over the country. And he, a Ohio boy, a Columbus boy or close to it.
Amazing.
And he hadn't been out of Ohio maybe more than twice. And now he's been all over the world. And it's so funny because he had his birthday the other day. And I said, what do you want for your birthday dinner? And he said, I want Chinese food. And he laughed at me because he goes, do you understand that 2 years ago, for me to say, what do you want for your birthday? And I want Chinese food. He goes, would never have happened. He goes, I want roast beef, mashed potatoes, and some carrots. And now he wants sushi and he wants all this kind of stuff. So I think it's our responsibility, Rob, as this older generation. God, I don't want to say older generation.
I know.
Okay. But I think it's our responsibility to continue this dialogue with our kids and our family and our friends, anybody that'll listen to us, to go back and watch nostalgic movies, to go back and ride in an old car, to go back and, watch a funny Dr. Pepper commercial, to go back and eat food, to go to these places that you didn't DoorDash, that you just went to. And we have to continue to instill in people, and one of my favorite things to talk about is participate in your community and do fundraising and do charitable work. That's probably the greatest part of my career at this point. Done the shows, built the businesses, have all these things, but philanthropy that's my real end goal. That's my fourth quarter game. And my foundation is called the Guy Fieri Foundation. And our motto is serving those who serve us. So we go around when there's a disaster, our foundation, we have these big rescue trailers that are 48 feet long. And we go around to different disasters. So when the Palisades fires happened, which was so devastating, we went down and served 25,000 meals, but we only fed them to the first responders. So anybody that was down there working, anybody that was down there, National Guard or firefighters
I
or
saw
EMTs.
I saw your trailer. I see. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And so that's what we do. And then when we don't have disasters, we just go around, like we'll be in Naples, Florida next week. And all we'll do is we'll call up the local sheriff and just say, hey, listen, call up all your EMTs, all your fire departments, everybody that's in your municipality. We're going to come in with our trailer and we're going to put on a luncheon for you for 500 to 1,000 people, however many people you want to invite. We're going to cook it for free and just do something to say thank you.
Amazing.
Just thank you for taking care of our community. Thank you for keeping this country free. And we also do it at military bases and so forth. So I think that all these things that we were taught, and I don't think they were taught as explicitly as I'm saying them to you right now, we have a responsibility to make sure we continue to educate. They're so educated with the computers and all the resources they can use and so forth, but we need to get them really boots on the ground and keep them in front of the great movies, in front of the great shows, in front of the great food, in front of the great charitable work. Otherwise, we're going to pasteurize this entire world, this entire society, and become so disconnected that we don't make an actual phone call anymore. My big thing in my company is handwritten notes. Write somebody a note.
Yeah.
You're only saying 3 lines, the same thing you were going to text them. But when a piece of mail shows up with your name on it, you kind of get a little...
You get a tingle today, right?
Right?
Somebody writes you... I just know whenever I get a handwritten note, that person's a fucking baller. Do you know what I mean? Right? You're just like,
Ian? See, I tell Ian that right there.
No,
I tell him, I tell my kids all the time. One of my agents, Jason Hodes, he's with WME, greatest, agents are they're their lifeline. And Ryder, who's my youngest son, who goes to San Diego State, he's the one I did Versus with, really wanted, and he works for the San Diego State basketball team. Well, San Diego was hosting the NCAA, and Ryder really wanted to go. He's a basketball junkie. And so Jason hooked him up, and somebody got through. Yeah. Yep. And I said, Ryder, and he goes, I already know the card. Yes.
That's some good fathering, good parenting
what
right
it
there.
Takes, buddy. Well, that's what it takes. And you've been a great example of that. That's why I said that Hot Ones, we're so happy that we got a chance to do it. But honestly, Rob, you were they baited me with you. They're like, oh, that's what Rob did. And I'm like, I love Rob. That guy's awesome.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that. I remember, my memory is I can tell you the really gnarly part of it. It was in the middle of, as you know, when you have a new show coming out, you might do a day of publicity, an entire day. All right, Hot Ones started at 8 a.m. You do not want to eat that at 8 in the morning.
Mine was at 10.
Oh my God.
So, and listen, Rob, I had a day of publicity. I was up in New York to do publicity. So Ryder flew from San Diego overnight because he's in school. I flew up from Florida. We met, we did Hot Ones, and I'm a hot junkie. I love hot food.
Same, but not at 8 a.m. before I have my coffee.
I got after it. And I don't want to tell you about the outcome because it's going to air in June. But Ryder, my 20-year-old, he's a little bit more mild-mannered than Hunter, who's a little bit crazier. But here's Ryder bringing it. This kid went after me. It was out of control. But that's what I watched you guys.
Yeah.
And didn't your son end up winning?
He did. Yeah. I don't like to admit it, but
we never do.
I don't like passing the torch.
Hey, man, you've done a great job. I met your son, like I said, I met him at Hunter's birthday. We were down in LA was it Ryder's birthday? I think it was Ryder's birthday.
Were you guys at On the Rock? Were you at On the Rocks? Is that possible?
No, we were at a buddy of mine has a big house in Beverly Hills, and he said, hey, I'd love to host that party. And we did it. So anyhow, someone introduces me to your son.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there talking, and he's grounded, grounded and cool. And it was a pretty crazy evening. And just grounded and cool. And I told him, probably 10 times, Dad is such a legend. That guy is, and I can just sit there and I'm talking to him like, man, that guy can be as much of a legend as he is and everything, but that kid is grounded, that kid's normal, and that kid's not running around running his mouth, because that there's some kids in that era that could be, taking it a little too far. But it was just really cool. So then to see it all come to, then the full circle, and then to get a chance to finally meet you is awesome. But I want you to keep this in mind,
yes,
because everybody needs a buddy in the business. Everybody needs that. Hey, how God, I'm in Chicago. Where do I go? I'm not going to Regina's. Where do I go for great dumplings? And say, you hold me on speed dial, buddy. And I'm also great for what do you do with those darn holiday leftovers? So I've got an overcooked prime rib, Guy. I don't want to throw it away because I'm not good at throwing stuff away. What should I do with that? Or, what chili crisp is my go-to these days?
Okay, I'm gonna take you up on that because
it's not a shallow offer, my friend.
No, it's not. Are you kidding me? It's a great offer because I trust you implicitly for knowing what I'm looking for. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we are pretty close, and there's so many commonalities. Like I said, there's so many commonalities, and bullshit. I don't get into it because somebody told me it was great. I have to really, I do trust the people that tell me, but it's that reality of, we're too far down. We're too long in the tooth now to be playing games. I'm not going to send you somewhere because it's the place.
No,
I'll send you to that other place. When you get to the place, go around the corner. It looks like it sucks, but it'll be worth it. Don't eat it. Yeah.
I want the place behind the cool place.
I had a lady one time, I was doing a demo. It was like 3,000 people. I was in, I don't know where I was, DC. I'm doing this demo and I'm cooking and so forth. And cooking demos can get a little boring. So I always leave an open mic for people to ask questions because I'm ADD. So I can do 10 things at once, and I get cooking. And then the lady says, hey, so I went to this location that you went to in Long Beach and it was horrible. I said, oh, shit. I go, I'm sorry. She goes, yeah, we went there because you said, and we went there and we had the cheeseburger. It was terrible. And the way that it was terrible. And I go, oh God, I'm so sweating in front of everybody that this is going wrong. I said, ma'am, I apologize. I said, I remember the location, but I don't remember trying any of those things. I tried the blueberry pancakes. She goes, oh, we had those. Those were fantastic. Those were delicious, but everything else, and I go, hang on a second. I'm not saying that everything on the menu is fantastic. All I'm saying is I had this dish and this dish was really good. And granted, it's restaurant business. People can have a bad day. Maybe they screwed up. Maybe the cook didn't show up and the busboy was cooking. I don't know, but don't crucify me.
No.
So
the blueberry pancakes, another great one. So you have a Tournament of Champions. Is that back this year? It is, right?
Oh, it'll never go away.
It'll never go away.
Listen, it was built just as you have built shows and produced and directed shows. You do a lot of it because you see talent that needs to be highlighted and stories that need to be told.
Yep.
And so much of that's what's going on in my life. I've been in this game now in the food television game for 20 years.
Yep.
And as a chef and a restaurant owner, I see so much incredible talent out there. And I'm like, man, I want to give these brothers and sisters of mine, I want to give them this platform to be recognized. I'm a huge MMA fan.
Yeah.
And, I like to go around and joke and say that I want to be the Dana White of food competition.
I get that. I think that's a great.
And I love Dana. He's a great guy.
I can see you guys.
He's built so many careers.
Yeah.
He's done so many, he's helped so many people find stardom and find financial security and things that they never would have had. So he creates this platform. So that's what I want to do. Iron Chef had kind of gone away. And there's a lot of great competition shows that are out there on all different types of networks. No shame. I'm just happy to see people getting a chance to be recognized. But I said, I want to make the best. I want to make the best of the best. And I love bracket competition. I love NCAA. You see all the upsets and things that are going on that been taking place. Yeah. I have to call Ryder to get the update.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to create. One and done. Move on.
It's great.
Big money, like huge money. So Tournament Champions was started. Live audience. What you see is what you get. No bullshit. No changing the rules. No changing the clock. And this thing called the randomizer that creates the criteria. No two competitions will ever be the same. Oh. There's nobody that could be sitting at home or in their kitchen saying, okay, if this, and this happened, this is what I would do. It's impossible because you never know what's going to be on the randomizer.
Dude, I'm familiar with the randomizer. I got my own randomizer on the floor. Activate the randomizer. The randomizer, you got to have a randomizer in your life.
We need pocket randomizers. What should I be having tonight?
Yeah.
But I remember when my production team that we were getting ready to do the show about 2 weeks prior, and they said, hey, great news. We have the randomizer made, and we made it like a digital slot machine in Las Vegas. And I said, absolutely not. One, I don't trust a digital slot machine in Vegas.
Right.
Because it could just be whatever algorithm they put in there. I want the clickety click wheel. I want the Price is Right wheel. Just 5 of them. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, that's what I want. And they had to go and spend a fortune to get somebody to make it within 2 weeks because we were getting ready to air. But that is still the randomizer that we use. And the way it got called the randomizer is about 5 minutes before we were going to film. And they said, by the way, what are you calling the big goddamn machine? And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's so random. All the stuff that's on there. It's randomizer. And they're like, okay, let's roll those cameras going with the randomizer. And I'm like, that's what we got stuck with, but it fits now. But no, that Tournament of Champions is really life-changing. And we get a chance to see some of I think the greatest chefs in the world. You got to really have a backbone about you. You got to really have truth and belief in yourself to go and do this because it's scary. People get PTSD from this. It's gnarly.
Oh, the outtakes of competition shows and cooking shows in particular are really gnarly. What goes on behind the scenes?
You want to come behind the scenes? Tears, holes in the wall, kicked over things, people getting pissed, people getting happy, people getting people finding their higher power, people calling their wife, their husband. It's a gamut of emotions that goes on. And, but for me, it's really a chance to celebrate the people that I love and I respect and I admire, and to be the ringleader of this is an amazing opportunity. It's really what I love so much about what I do. And I would have probably been done a long time ago. I'm very satisfied and fulfilled and have a great family, great wife, great kids. And my philanthropy, as I said, is my big focus. But knowing what these shows, like we have a new one called Flavortown Food Fight, which is another one of bringing chefs you may not know of and putting them in the environment that they're best, which is cooking in restaurants. But doing these things, and then Triple D, just going around and putting a spotlight on the places that already exist and saying, hey, by the way, next time you're in Schenectady, check this joint out.
I love that. That's that's the mothership, but it's still the best. It's the greatest. It's the best.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And congrats on this podcast. I don't know when you want me back next, but I'll be available every week.
Dude, we gotta make it happen. We gotta do a food tour or something. We should do something Ohio centric.
I have a bunch of cousins that are always, hounding me. I get more friends just randomly. Hey, by the way, the next time you're in Duluth, check this place. I got a laundry list of them, and I send it to my production team. Like, hey, if we go to Duluth, put this on the menu.
Yeah.
Or, put this on the piece. But I'll make you this deal, Rob. You tell me where you want to go. Here's the way we shoot the show. We're going to be shooting in. Yeah, you want to go to Tampa next week?
Next week
we're shooting.
No,
Tampa's awesome this time of year.
I know it is, and I love Tampa. I love Florida. I need an excuse.
So I'm going to Tampa next. Going to Tampa next week. So we'll shoot 6 locations within like 30 or 40 miles of Tampa.
Right.
And then those locations get broken up into different packages of, like, we don't just do a whole show about Tampa.
Right.
It might be like mom and pop barbecue joints, or it might be, places you'd never expect or whatever. Yep. We develop a show. But you come up with an idea of an area you want to shoot, and you and I'll bounce out, find a time that works, and we can hit. I'll have my team do the research. We usually find like 20 locations and then narrow it down to 6.
All right, and I'll throw it out to the audience. Give us call the LoweDown line.
What do you want to see, right?
Where do you want to see the Guy and Lowe? See us out there doing our thing. That'd be great.
The LoweDown line. I'm telling you, it would be, and I really mean that. I don't make shallow offers. We could have a lot of fun with it, and I'll even you know how to drive a stick. You're that era.
Of course. Yeah, I know.
You know how many people don't know how to drive a stick?
Don't get me started. It's pathetic.
It's mind-blowing.
God, how great was it that day that you figured out as a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, whatever it was, that you conquered the clutch?
Hey, it was driving 3 on the tree that killed me.
3 on the tree.
Come on, man.
The tree. Yes.
I have an old Cadillac limo. I collect cars, and I have this old Cadillac limo. It's 41 Cadillac with 3 on the tree, and I jumped right in it. And I just remember everybody going, you know how to drive 3 on the tree? Because even people that could drive a clutch in a 4-speed, would just, or a 3-speed, would say you could drive 3 on the tree. Oh, 3 on the tree was that was the game changer. But I'll tell you a funny one about there was in Florida where I live, there was some people that were breaking into cars. They have that new fob that can copy the fob of somebody's, they don't have a Verde box and anyhow. And so the cop was telling me, he goes, yeah, we figured the guy ripping off the car was older. And I said, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, he was able to copy the fob and he was able to get in the Tesla, but he didn't know how to start it or drive it. He goes, so that's how we've determined he was an older thief. I thought that was hysterical.
That's really good. That is good detective work, is what that is.
Right?
Well, listen, thank you for coming on this. This was I was really looking forward to it. And I'm going to take you up on your offer. I need your intel as I travel the world. I'm always around, and I'll get your number from the team and I'll hit you up because I would love to know where to go to get the give me the triple D treatment, basically. Is what I'm looking at.
Well, I can't say you're going to have to participate in your intermittent fasting, and you're definitely going to have to work in moderation. The only thing that is my kryptonite is dumplings. I am a dumpling junkie.
Amazing. I like a good dumpling. Yeah. Well, we'll
dumplings.
We'll have to talk about dim sum. We'll have to get into that because
we don't go. It's a whole another hour and a half.
I know it is. It's the best.
But listen, I meant it. And again, Rob, thank you for thanks for the invite. Thanks for being such a positive light in our world. You always have a great attitude. You always had a great smile. You look like $1 million.
Thank you.
My wife and I are definitely going to have a discussion about the posters on the wall. That'll come up later.
Give her my big hug for me. There
was no Tiger Beat restaurant magazines with my picture on anybody's wall. Maybe a Flavortown, flame shirt.
I know.
It's made some college dormitories. That's about it. But
right.
No, you're awesome, man. I'm down anytime. No shallow offers have been made. I'm 100%, and let's go do it.
Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you in a bit.
You're awesome. Say hi to the kids for me.
Thank you.